I'm not Jeff. I have no idea what the audio is like, but we're gonna work with it. So hopefully you can hear me. Welcome to the Do Nothing Project. I'm your guest host, Andrew Lenards. I've not seen confirmation that you can hear me. Okay, so there's Mike G. Just want to make sure. Okay, loud and clear, great. So we may pick up a bit more background noise for folks that sit with me on Wednesdays. You'll hear maybe more of the clock than normal. I was setting up to use the iPad, and the iPad is at like 10%, and for whatever reason, it wasn't like charging, wasn't going up while it was connected. So that didn't seem like a very good move. So I switched to the phone really late. So, but that's part of the Do Nothing Project. Technical difficulties keeping us on our toes. And then I'm on like an iPhone mini, so I can see the chat kind of like flip through relatively quickly. So hello to Paul. We will cease our panic, Jeff McP. As folks know, Jeff and family are out in Western Canada. They're doing a combination vacation and retreat. So Jeff's leading a retreat at the retreat space. The family's along with him. And logistics were such that me guest hosting made life easier. So I am filling in for Jeff. So all is well in all of those regards. So folks are wondering, that's what's going on. And then I'm filling in folks that if every once in a while I've heard stories of people that they're like, oh yeah, I showed up the first time and you were a guest host, but I didn't know where Jeff was. So again, guest host, I'm usually in the chat with Fred. I'm a certified mindfulness meditation coach by trade and training. I'm a software engineer. I've been part of the Do Nothing Project for all but maybe like 3 months of its existence, I think, something like that. Yeah. And here at the top, we usually explain that we want you to keep your expectations low. This is arguably one of the more boring live streams out there. So self-styled in its boredom. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 25-minute sit with about 5 minutes of loving kindness or friendliness practice to stoke some warmth in our practice before we end. And then maybe we'll catch a few reports, and if I remember things to announce, which I don't think there are any things to announce, and then Fred's gonna post some links for what's going on with the MindBot Adventure Pod and with Home Base and things like that. So that's where we're headed. I have my bell, I have my timer set up on my iPad, and I have a drink so that when my voice gets raspy, I can actually take a drink quick. Yeah, and I'm generating a huge amount of empathy for Jeff here because being on a small phone, everything is quite rapid. So thank you everyone that is active in the chat. And then if I move it, I bounce everything around. This is yeah, so I think I covered everything. The inspiration for today is something that I did on the Wednesday sit a while back, and that is your permission to do nothing. Let's see if we can get this close enough that maybe it's in focus. So here's your permission slip to do nothing. This is one of my favorite things in the world, which is you make a zine out of a single page of paper. So this was printed out as a single page of paper, cut it in the middle, you get this thing, and you fold it over, and there you go, you get this cool little booklet. So I absolutely love these little booklets. If you're curious, this was made by a YouTuber and artist and illustrator named Struthless. And actually, if I do that, you might even be able to scan the QR code off the video and get this. So this is a downloadable PDF. You can download it, print it, cut it, and you can have your own permission to start right now. Generally, whatever permission slip you think you need, you got it. And so for us, really ultimately, one of the best things is this notion of permission to do nothing. And right now, for me, in my practice, I'm feeling more of that ego energy trying to take and correct the fact that my practice is kind of off the rails at the moment. And oh, is the image flipped again? Ah, geez. Well, there you go. I don't think it'll scan, Ruth. Sorry. It's correct for me right now. I know that, but yeah, so it's all flipped again. Folks that sit with me on Wednesday will know that that's not in the right spot. So, and then you can't read this either. So, boy. Okay, well, some technical difficulties are are just not to be overcome. So okay, well, unfortunately I can't test this in advance other than to live stream off the channel, but like all of these things will totally roll with it. Yes, Bill J, we're this alternate universe, Andrew. If I had my goatee in, I'd be the ultimate or the bizarro Andy. But you can imagine that this says permission to do nothing. So that's what we're going to work with. I will offer in a few, it'll be mostly light guidance. As always, I'm going to ring the bell and we'll time the sit, but and I'm going to offer some guidance. You can allow it to be in the background, and pretty much you can ignore me if you'd like. But the notion is you're free to do your own practice, free to show up for the community part. And then for this, I'm just kind of hoping to get a little bit of the very little of anything at all. If we were to say that we're doing a little bit more than nothing, so just a little bit, very little of anything at all. So that's where we're headed. Again, I said 25 minutes sit. Last 5 minutes will be loving kindness, and that's it. All right. I got a little off track, but we're on track now. All right. I have a fancy bell. I have no idea what it's going to sound like on the phone, so I'm going to try to be moderately judicious with it so I don't shake any of your feelings out of your head. So here we go. All right, I hope it sounded good for you because it sounded pretty good for me. So we'll begin our sit by establishing our posture. And really we're setting up the body to sit in a way that supports us to be mostly still. Upright without being uptight is really our goal. I'll focus on the seated posture, so in a chair, a cushion, or a bench, but you could be lying down, walking, standing, all valid postures for meditation. And beginning with just seeing what's already here, getting an idea of what's the inner weather like. What are we bringing with us into the sit? Seeing if we can spot any tension, not chasing it away, but just acknowledging it. Sometimes that acknowledgement is enough to get it to release, and if not, can just welcome it. And then a few deliberate breaths. Slow and low is the tempo that we're going for. And breathing in through the nose helps us slow that breath down, and as we slow it down, it goes low into the belly. And as the inhale turns around and becomes the exhale, seeing if we can extend and accentuate it. And depending on where you start the sit, or where your inner weather is at, just a few breaths, 3 or 4 breaths in that slow and low pace can really shift our experience. And then letting go of controlling the breaths, allowing the breath to be natural. And marking this point here as our waypoint. So if you feel like you've wandered off, or if the cues or my instruction kind of take you in a different direction, you can always come back here to this point, just sort of sitting and knowing that you're sitting. And if you get any inner talk that's questioning, am I doing this right? Or it doesn't quite feel like I'm there yet, or any of that sort of evaluation, inner talk, just seeing if you can label that. You can label it here in if you want to be consistent with world, and you can just use talk if you want. Seeing if you can let that go. So we're letting go of any intention to control our attention. And then the only twist I've added for right now is just if you get any self-critical or judging inner talk, just seeing if you can let that go. So give yourself permission to just sit. Or you have permission to know that you're doing it right. So again, you might get that sort of inner critic maybe chiming in, attempting to be helpful in a maybe not very helpful way. Or you might kind of feel as you sit a little bit, just kind of, you can't really describe it, you don't have words for it, but the body doesn't feel like it's in the right spot. So just seeing if you can, on one hand, just allow the body, if it needs to move a little, and then settle back into the stillness. And if the critic is sort of just yammering on without being hurtful, just seeing if you can just let that be in the background. So drawing the line somewhere. If it's sort of hurtful talk, then let's not let that go on. But if it's little bits and pieces, little nitpicks, just seeing if you can let that be in the background. And relax back into just doing nothing. You've got full permission. This is your time. Just do nothing. And for our friendliness practice, with it being at least summer in North America, there's a lot of travel going on. So even if you're not going somewhere, there's a likelihood someone is coming to you to visit. And I was thinking in my most recent trip I just got home from is all of the people that are involved from the beginning of a trip to the end of a trip. So just seeing if you can bring to mind folks as you think about that along a trip, offering just a simple thank you or maybe a well wish of I appreciate what you do. Maybe there's someone recently that made your travel a little bit easier, just calling attention that didn't go unnoticed. I was thinking from the shuttle driver from the parking lot for me to the security staff who checked my identification, to the folks who scanned all my luggage, to gate agents, luggage carriers, the signal people who flag ships in as they come into a gate, folks who refuel the planes, load the luggage, pack on the beverages and peanuts and cookies and all of that stuff. Thank you. And as some of that stuff comes to mind, you might get a little bit of a negative reaction, like the one jerk. Setting that aside and seeing if you can come up with another person, maybe a neutral person. Thank you. I notice what you do. I appreciate what you do. Thank you for making my trip possible. The folks that drive the carts to make sure people can get to their gates, if they're recovering from an injury or aren't as mobile. Everyone who helps with wheelchair assists, all of that. Thank you. I appreciate what you do. Thank you for making this trip possible. Thank you for helping bring my friend to visit. The pilots, the flight crew, air traffic controllers. And then shifting, if there isn't anyone that you're going to visit or coming to visit you, just bringing to mind folks that bring your letters to your house every day, make deliveries. Thank you. Folks that pick up your trash each week. Thank you. And just a quick thank you to Campbell Walker, who also goes by Struthless, who made the little one-page zine that was the inspiration for guidance today. Thank you. And I'll invite the bell to signal that our sit has ended. Hopefully that's enough head start that you didn't get startled. We don't usually do this on the Do Nothing Project, but I'm going to give a dedication of merit. So this is a dedication of merit that I picked up from one of my trainings. So may the fruits of our practice be for the benefit of all beings. May our actions be for the benefit of all beings. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for being here on a Sunday night. And then thank you again. You can't read this, but at least I eventually will be able to flip this around. So this will eventually be the thumbnail, maybe. We'll see if we can fix it. You are all super, super welcome. Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about today about all the people that, from my checkout at the hotel to dropping off my rental car to getting through security to my flight, to just the sheer number of folks all the way along there. So, oh, is someone at Jeff's retreat? Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Yes, and then Fred is going to post some of the links for what's going on. I recommend the Rebecca Lee episode from Mindbot Adventure Pod. So that Silent Illumination, I think, is the name of Rebecca Lee's book. And can think of Silent Illumination as maybe a very close cousin to the just Shikantaza or Just Sitting that is the inspiration for Do Nothing. So the Do Nothing technique, the formal technique from Shinzen Young, comes out of Shikantaza or Just Sitting, Zazen. So yeah, I'm a Zen practitioner, but not by any means authorized to teach Zen. So I'm Zen inspired. But thank you for the kind words, Sonali. Yeah, and then I think there are a few people that were asking about Brooks' meditation page, and Fred has just got that posted, so that's super great. And then Jeff will be back next week. Trying to think if there's anything else. And then I do one of last link that Fred will post is my Wednesday sits. So I do a sit on Wednesdays that's at 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Central, and 5:15 Pacific. So thank you so much, Fred, for posting and covering for me so that I don't have to do two-hand or try to do it on the laptop while I'm broadcasting, which I've done and it doesn't go particularly well. So yeah, and if I don't see you Wednesday, I will see you on Sunday. Yes, please check your time zones. The human construct of time is complicated, but if there wasn't time zones, it would be even more complicated. So, all right. As Fred wished a number of folks, have a great week. I want to second, have a great week. and we'll see you in 1 week's time. So thanks. Now I have to figure out how to turn this off.